What's going on, y'all? I'm making this video to talk about my G League Tryout Experience, which was yesterday, the 15th, and it was for the Long Island Nets, the Brooklyn Nets affiliate team, obviously. And first, like, sign up. When I first signed up, it was like a $180 payment, just for a tryout. And I'm gonna get back to paying out for tryouts and whatnot, and why it's basically like a whole money, a whole no money scam thing and whatnot. But it's a $180 payment, so I paid for that, and then next thing you know, they confirmed that it was actually me, and they sent me these three forms to fill out so I could send back to them, right? So the forms was very iffy. It was kind of it was a little bit uncomfortable what was on the forums and whatnot. They had simple stuff like where you're from, what high school did you play at, what college did you play at, how tall are you, how much you weigh. I believe that was on it, but it was definitely which college that you played at. And important thing, if you never played at like a high D2 or D1 college, then your chances of making the team are very low. If you're not that tall, then your chances of making the team is like extremely low. And I'm gonna tell you why. During the towards the end of the video. So yeah, the forums had um weird stuff on it, like if you're reading this, you have to sign and give your consent saying that the Nets are not responsible for anything that happens to you, no injuries, no panic attacks, no heart attacks, no fatal situations. If those who don't know what fatal means, it means death. Like if you die in the court, then they're not responsible for that. Like don't matter how the situation occurred or whatnot. That's what they made us sign, right? And they also made us sign this third form. I forgot what it was about. And it was. I was just shocked at what I was seeing basically, because it's like they're just saying try out here, but we're technically not going to be responsible for anything that happens to you, even though we just paid our money to them. And it's like 120 people who can try out for the team. And so if you multiply that 120 times 183, then you have a lot of money on your hands now. So tryout day, which was yesterday, of course. My mom and my grandmother came with me. Thank you for that. They've always been supportive of my basketball career my whole life. They came with me, right? So we get there, and first it wasn't even exactly the directions. They gave us direction on the website, but it didn't lead us to the place where they was holding the tryout set. So that was already one thing that they wasn't too neat about with the whole tryout situation. So we had to ask campus security, because it was held at a LIU post. Um, and I think that's in Bronx. I think that's like in the Bronx or Long Island. I don't really know, but other than that, no, it's Long Island. Obviously, LIU post. But yeah. So we asked the school security, the campus security, where is the basketball arena at? So he gave us the directions. We went there, parked the cars. It's about dozens of cars, if not at least 100 cars in the parking lot, right? So we get out, go in. It's 100 people in the lobby waiting to check in, because check-in starts in at 9 o'clock. We got there around like 8 something, and we had to wait like 30 to 45 minutes to get inside. So before that, we seen the coaches coming in, and some of the coaches was like conversing with some of the players like they already knew them, which was kind of weird in a way. Uh, and they was like, "Oh, it's good to see you. Let's get to work when we get inside." Right? He was, "Oh yeah." And then some of the players, "Oh yeah, yes sir. I'm ready to get to work and whatnot." And, I'm kind of observing everything, because I'm not gonna say I'm nosy, but I also wanted to be sure about what I was getting myself into, and clearly I didn't do my homework beforehand, which is what I'm gonna get to during the end of the video. Right, so we get inside, we check in, get our jerseys and whatnot. We, change. Everybody started changing. Some people stretch, some people got their headphones on, bumping music. Me, I like to, get dressed quickly and then get up a couple shots, so I get a feel for it. and a lot of people was doing that as well for me also. And when it started getting too crowded, because it was three baskets, so that's six rims for people to shoot on. It's like 100 something people there, so it's gonna be hard to kind of even out the baskets so everybody can get their fair share of shots. So I sat down, because I was already sweating a little bit, so I don't want to be in a full sweat before a tryout, because I don't know what they're gonna make us start doing. If they're gonna make us start doing running drills, I don't want to be in a full sweat already, almost fatigued, and then when I get, when they start doing the drills, I won't be able to do them. So I sat down with my grandma, my mom, drunk some water, started listening to music, waiting to the clock ran down and whatnot, so they could start the tryouts. So when they started the tryouts, they brought everybody in the middle of the court. The new head coach introduced himself, said that he's not gonna be running the program, he's gonna be the assistant coach. And I'm kind of, side-eyed in the whole situation now, because I'm expecting you to teach us what you want us to do, but yet you get in the assistant coach for us. So this is when they start to buddy you up, so you could be vulnerable to the situation. The first thing he said was, hey, I'm the assistant coach such and such, and I played for the LA Lakers D League team for 2 years, and I've made it. And I made it to that D League, at the time it was the D League team, but he was saying the G League team. I made it to the G. He was like, I made it to the G League team through a tryout. Basically, he was saying that he was once in our footsteps before, basically, but none of us know that. Like, none of us ever seen the guy before and whatnot. He's over, telling us stuff like, we gonna do some old school stuff and whatnot. So after that, we all, brung it in, did a little Nets team, little Nets chant. Then we got started with the drills and whatnot. No, I'm sorry. We didn't get started with the drills yet. We got started with the stretches. They made us do, full course stretches and whatnot. We did a couple, laps, up and down the court and whatnot. So as the real drill started happening, the first thing they did was it was these passing drills to a layup, right? And, some of the people that they was looking at was kind of, choking, I would say. It was like missing open layups, not catching the ball and whatnot. And mind you, a lot of teams do this. Like, they have these tryouts, so the players that they're actually looking at, they can see how they work and, certain game situations. Like, if y'all understand, like, college does that. Trust me, I've known college for doing that, and I found out, and from my experience, NBA teams do that as well. So, right, we started doing these drills and whatnot, some layup drills, some three-man weave drills, basic things. We started, competed with the other courts, because mind you, it was 3 courts, so it was 1, 2, 3. They divided the 120 into 3 groups, and then after that, we got started on the real drills. The first drill that we did was like a defensive drill, and this coach was just doing, drills like something like it was so weird. Like, first, he's talking about, if you're at the top of the key, if you got to play at the top of the key, and the ball's on the opposite side of you, you're supposed to be at the top of the key with your hands wide, and then if the ball swings to your man, you're supposed to run there. But me growing up, when you have a man on the top of the key and the ball is one pass away, you're supposed to be kind of blocking the ball, because people in the NBA, in that level, the NBA, from what I've seen, that's basically an open shot for most players, especially people like Clay, Curry, Damian Lillard, Bill. It's plenty of people who just need you just standing right there, basically just giving them that little bit of breathing space and whatnot. And it was it was rotational, so we had to rotate, in certain scenarios. So we rather went, first we started on defense and then offense. And, after that drill, we did a shooting drill, which is kind of weird because, like I said, there's so many people at the tryout that you can't really, look at who's doing good and who's not doing good, right? So we just shooting the ball. We started from the corner, and then we went to the wing. Then we went to the foul line, extended, and then we went to the top of the key. And like mind you, it's two balls on each team, so that's 40 people, 20 teams. No, it's two teams of 20. So while two teams of 20 is just shooting the ball rapidly, going back and forth. I'm sorry, it's not two teams of 20 because it was 40 on each court. So the teams, basically the teams is broken up. I'm not trying to confuse y'all right now, but like as y'all can see, I sound all over the place, and that's exactly how the tryout was just all over the place. Nothing was really organized or whatnot. You couldn't really get a hold of what was going on. So they were just doing these shooting drills. It was like a competitive shooting drill, which this team makes it to 7 on all 3 different spots of the court, and then you switch sides and whatnot. But they started stopping the drills because of them missing out on directions and them missing out of giving us directions. Because us growing up, when you shoot the ball, you usually switch sides. You know what I'm saying? You get behind the other team that was shooting the ball, and now you shoot on that side, and then you rotate again and go around the other side. Of course, you get your own rebound and pass it to the person, but they never told us that. They stopped the drill as the time is running down and said that I see guys running all over the place. I see guys passing the ball to the wrong side of the court. I see guys going on the wrong line and whatnot. You're supposed to go back to your same line. But mind you, they never told us that, right? So after that drill was a disaster. We went the third drill that we did was this you had to catch the ball, sweep, dribble, two dribbles, one dribble, two dribbles, whatnot, wrap around pass, overhead pass, to a man that was cut into the side to the corner 3, and then you had to pop out either shoot a 3 or a mid range, right? That was one of the drills, right? Most of these drills is basically for right-handed people, I should say, right? Because I don't know what the reason was, but the drills is basically for right-handed people. Even though I don't mind, passing with my right side, but that's kind of like a disadvantage for left-handed players because there was a lot of left-handed players who couldn't pass with their right hand, so it kind of make them look bad because now the coaches be like, oh, well, he can't pass with his right hand, so now I see that he can't play for me. But some of these people who can't pass with their right hand, who are left-handed, were better than the players who the coaches was actually, looking at, to recruit on their team. You feel me? So after that, that was the 3 old school drills that they said they wanted us to do. And then we got to some full court action, right? So first they did something totally weird. They said line up for smallest to tallest, to shortest to tallest and whatnot. It was teams. It was 7 coaches, so it was 7 teams. So the one of the coaches came out and pointed each 7 players 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So whichever number you were, you go to that team of which coach had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pointed up and whatnot. So if you was on that team, you go there, and then they started the full court scrimmages or games or whatnot, which is totally unorganized as well. But me, I had a decent team. My team was decent, and this is where things really, started getting awkward and whatnot, because like when they brung everybody in at the beginning of the trial, they was like, we're not looking for people who's only going to score, look out for themselves, because this is not golf, this is not tennis, and while this is not an individual sport, this is basketball. We want to see who can make your teammates better, because we already have our core of players. Remember what I just said. The head coach said we already have our core of players, meaning that he already has his team. But that went over our heads because the assistant coach already buttered us up by saying that he made it to the G League through a tryout, which is the scenario that we was in. So we were like, oh yeah, we about to make the team, whatnot, we got a chance today. You feel me? Like, so going back to the scrimmages, the full court action, I had a decent team, but the coaches also mentioned to do the small steps, but I had teammates who was only looking out for themselves. Like, they always wanted the ball, I had this one dude he was chubby. He had these glasses on. He always wanted to shoot the ball, and if you didn't pass him the ball, he said, "Oh, why you not showing me no love or none of that?" And, you just kind of look at him funny and whatnot, but you don't want to make the whole situation, you know, uncomfortable because you have to keep the team corralled, keep the team as one and whatnot. So I started doing the little things. I was making sure I was passing the ball, setting screens, no matter if it was on ball or off ball, scored when I had to, always played defense, ran up and down the court, no matter if it was back on the offensive defense, always, spread the court, always talk, communicated, cheer your teammates on, cheer for them on defense and whatnot. And, although I was doing all of that, the coach was only, impressed by the players who was keeping the ball to themselves, the big guys who wanted to dribble, that was pulling up and shooting, that was just, refusing to pass the ball, basically wanted to be the individual, show that they told us not to be. They wanted us to be, they informed them saying that, oh, we wanted to see people who can make their teammates better and see how high their IQ is, but clearly that wasn't the case because they was really, impressed with the players. Well, most of them was impressed with the players that was only looking out for themselves because it made them look good in some sort of way. I don't know how, which is like why I keep on saying that the whole tryout was kind of all over the place and it really didn't make sense. And on my team, we was winning our full court games, beating every team that was on our court. We went on the other court and won as well. And the coach that I was with, he was actually impressed with my ability of passing, setting my teammates up, communicating, working on and off the ball. Because no matter if you don't have the ball in hand, you got to keep on moving around the court. That's what people don't understand. Like, I'm over here telling my teams, like, you got to move, you got to keep on, setting screens for your teammates, no matter if they open or not. Keep on moving the ball keep on moving without the ball because that can be a big key to the reason why your team is really successful in playing full court basketball. So as that was coming down to him, because it was at the end of the tryouts when they do the full court action. Remember when I said that they made us sign forms of any injuries or fatal accidents and whatnot? When I tell you that the refs literally barely blew their whistles on dangerous fouls, flagrant fouls, I'm talking about people getting elbow thrown in the air, like, it was just so much dirty play going on. And you had people that can play basketball, but you also had some people who didn't know how to play basketball. They could play basketball, but they didn't know how to play basketball. You get what I'm saying? Because it was this one play, I was coming down the court, and this one dude just ran himself right into my knee, right? No foul call whatsoever. So then I approached him. I'm like, you can't just be running into everybody. That's what you're doing. And his excuse for that was, I'm playing hard. I mean, like, anybody that play basketball knows that although you got to look out for the safety of yourself, you can't just be out there wanting to hurt other people. You get what I'm saying? But other than that, they talking, they also mention, efficiency, make your teammates better, have an IQ, have a good skill set, and whatnot. And they was just indecisive of what they really wanted. You get what I'm saying? Like I said before, I made something like that. I'm all over the place, but this is exactly what I was hearing from them. It didn't sound neat at all, and the worst part. What I'm about to say is these huge players walked in the gym out of nowhere. I'm talking about 6'9", 6'10". They had some point guards who was like 6'5", 6'6", just walked in the gym, just looking at us like, who the hell are these people in here? Well, these are people that we just got the money from and whatnot. Because that's when I figured out the whole thing was just a whole money scam. Because when those big dudes walked in and was not practicing at all, that kind of threw the whole, that kind of gave it a negative energy to everybody who was there to try to make a team. Because the minute that we seen them, and Ranju on the advertisement or on the website, they said that some players would be asked to stay for a private workout after the tryout. The minute that we seen those players, we knew that something was up, because None of them got dressed and started, joining the tryout and whatnot. All of them was just standing there. Matter of fact, some was stretching. Some was already, warming up in their basketball clothes, stretching, with the bands and whatnot. But most of them was just standing there overlooking us, waiting for them, waiting for us to leave so they could get on the court and start the real workout. You get what I'm saying? And the players that the coaches already talked to, like during before the workout, before the try even started, or after the tryout, or during the tryout, they was talking to certain players who I seen them talking to before the tryout even started. And those were the same players that they was talking to midway in the tryout. So I'm guessing that they already knew who they was going to select before the tryout even started. Matter of fact, they did already know who they was going to select before the tryout even started. And the whole purpose of it was just to see how we was going to perform. How they was going to perform against us. So when they go against the private workout, they already have an advantage over certain things. Bro, it just sounds so confusing to me, because the minute that I seen those guys, I just got a bad feeling. Everything just I'm all this hard just went completely out the window. But that doesn't mean I'm going to give up. I'm never going to give up. I'm too resilient for that. But a lot of people was just upset. They walked out. They was cursing. Some people was cursing up the storm. It was this whole thing was stupid. It was you already had your players, but you made us pay all this money. You had people that came from Cali, people that came from Europe, people that came from Boston, Florida, Connecticut and whatnot. One dude told me that he drove 6 hours up here. I'm bro, I felt sorry for them cats, because they had no idea that they had no chance of making the team, bro. That's just how money hungry people are nowadays. And I feel and I don't know if this video gonna get terminated or flagged or whatnot, because I'm being extremely honest. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. I feel that the whole situation was just a money scam, because after you do all the calculations, they made about 25, close to 25 grand in one day, bro. For real. You feel me? And they charge a spectator fee. You get what I'm saying? People who wanted to watch their kids play, or their friends play, or whatever, their boyfriends play and whatnot, they charge you a $5 spectator fee just to watch people that they knew play, even though you already pay $183 just to try out for the team. And my high school coach once told me, if a team actually wants you, you shouldn't have to pay to try out to play for them if the team actually wants you. All this really is just something to take your money from you. You feel what I'm saying? It's a whole money scam and whatnot. And I talked to some people who was actually that went to the National G League tryout in California, I believe. And they felt the same way too. They really just did. They really just try to suck you in just to take your money away from you, and it is inferior to a lot of people, because now those people have to go back home with the bad taste in their mouth, knowing that they technically just been robbed. And the crazy thing about it is they have everything set up, and you don't notice it until after the trial's over. It says non-refundable fee. You get what I'm saying? So the man that you pay for, you're not getting your money back. No matter if you hurt yourself before you get to the tryout, you're not getting your money back. You get what I'm saying? If you down at court, you're not getting your money back. You're not even gonna pay for your medical bill, none of that. You feel what I'm saying? It's just there to take your money. And when the coach ended the workout, he said, some of you guys talked to one of the coaches for the prior workout after this, and he was I hope to see some of you guys soon. He also said that, I hope to see you guys at some of the games. And, let's just break it in. And then we did the little corny Nets thing on 3. And all of us just left, most were just we didn't want to talk to nobody, because we were always just pissed off. We all felt, deceived and whatnot. You feel what I'm saying? It was just so crazy, especially when we seen those tall, the Monstars walking. That's just how big them dudes were. Everybody just, the minute they walked in, everybody just turned their head, who are these people? Why are they not trying out with them? And then that's when, I said, that's when we figured out that Those were the actual roster. Like that's the actual roster that walked in, and the private workouts for the actual team. So they already had their team from the jump. You feel what I'm saying? That's why they was never answering my emails. Get what I'm saying? I was emailing them about everything. Like, do I need to have like some type of college experience? Do I need to have any connects or whatnot? Like, what do I need to do to make sure that I can have a spot on your roster? Like, and they wasn't emailing, they wasn't responding back and anything. The only thing that they responded back to was saying that I'm confirmed that I have that I'm confirmed that they got like my forms of my consent in case anything happens to me or whatnot. Like, it's just crazy, bro. You feel me? Like, and I call like my trainer. Like, he's actually a close friend of mine. He's actually been helping me through basketball for like the past couple of years. You know, my skill set or whatnot. He called me. No, I actually texted him. I'm like, bro, like, you was right, because he told me beforehand. He was like, it's really just a scam to get your money, and he was right. You know what I'm saying? They already have their team. You get what I'm saying? So I'm basically making this video to warn y'all that these G League tryouts is really just, it's profit for the team, basically. Like, you're most likely, it's a 99% chance that you're not going to make the team. Doesn't mean that, I'm not saying that you should give up trying. You just gotta, make it a different, a different way somehow, because, everything is so political nowadays. If you don't have a name or a certain reputation that the coaches know about, you're most likely not going to make the team, and that's exactly what happened. Even though you had some great players who that was at the tryout that should have made the team, in my opinion, that it was a lot of nice dudes there. I know for a fact that they, like, the coaches didn't even want them on the team because they already knew what their plans were beforehand, which is the crazy part. And, like, that's probably why they set up everything from the beginning. Like, no refunds. If you died, it's not our fault. If you get hurt, it's not our fault. Like, a lot of people was getting hurt because people was playing dirty during the game, and they don't care because you're not their responsibility. So that's why it wasn't really that many foul calls, that many whistles being blown, because they know exactly what they was doing, bro. They buddy you up at first. They give you some subliminal saying that you basically just wasted your money coming here, but have fun. And they just send you home pissed off, because now you just notice that you got scammed, and like, nobody really, put common sense into the situation beforehand. And after the trial's over, like, you kind of figure out that you made a mistake, because like I said before, if a team actually wants you, you wouldn't have to pay a single dollar for it. You feel what I'm saying? Like, don't, and the worst part, like, on their website, they would have like these players that they would see, like, people who made it to the NBA through the G League. Every player that they showed was players that was already drafted from the regular NBA. You get what I'm saying? But that's like their way of, buttering up the situation. And, hey, man, like, it's just crazy. Like, that's just my experience. Like, I would say that I had fun to an extent, but when I started seeing everything that started going on to what they was telling us, like when I started putting two and two together about, everything that they was saying, and, what I was seeing from when the actual team walked in, I kind of felt, I felt disrespected in a sense. I'm not mad because I gave it all in my court. I know I played great because I was impressing some of the coaches that I was there, but it clearly wasn't enough because they already had their team. So, I mean, like, hey, other than that, I'm just going to keep on, I'm just going to keep on striving, you know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't going to be the end of the road for me, like, because I know a lot of people probably got discouraged after that, but you always got to know that, if you keep on going, if you keep on trying to achieve your goals, you're going to end up achieving them. But if you give up, like, you would never know the outcome of the situation. So, all in all, just keep on going no matter what obstacles you got to go through. Because clearly this is an obstacle, but I'm not going to let this, stop me from, achieving what I want to achieve. So, yeah, that was my experience. Like, I mean, like, if you agree with what I've told you guys, like, it may have sounded a little bit confusing, but this is probably the best way I could have put it. You get what I'm saying? Because everything was so unorganized. And the worst thing about it is that they're doing another tryout this upcoming Saturday. So hopefully people can see that before paying their hard-earned money towards that. Like, and I just wish you guys the best of luck on your career. And I'm out.